Well, hello and welcome once again to the DCL podcast, where we're inviting you to sit back, relax, and we'll be on our way shortly. Well, welcome back to the DCL podcast, your podcast to help you and your family cruise a little smarter. And I'd like to welcome to the show. They just got off the beautiful Disney Wish from Port Canaveral. Chris and Christy, our fair seagoing friends. How are you guys doing today?
Look at that, fair seagoing friends. I love that. I'm doing great. How are you doing, Christy?
I'm doing great as well.
And for those of you watching live, I do apologize for the video. I'm in San Diego. You get what you get sometimes in the hotel rooms. We're doing the best we can to do this. But excited to join, for those of you who can join us live, and excited to hear about your guys' thoughts on the Disney Wish. We are going to do some spoilers, but we'll preface by we will stop and tell you when we'll start talking about those. But before
they're all going to be at the end, just so that it's not going to be like...
There will be a moment when we say, we are done with first impressions, we are talking the details, and that's when you can just pause this episode or come back and listen after you're sailing.
Exactly. Okay, so Captain Minnie, she's amazing when she invites you on, but days like today, when she kicks you off the ship at 9 o'clock, she's not your friend, is she?
It's literally Captain Minnie kicking you off. She's like, hello, friends. And then she's like, get off my ship. And you have to leave immediately. Very, very
She laughs too at the end. She kind of laughs at you when she's kicking you off.
Okay, let's just start with it. Overall impressions of the ship. Who wants to go first, Christy or Chris?
I'll just go because I'm not as eloquent. She's beautiful. I wasn't sure I was going to love the atrium, the Grand Hall. And I love the Grand Hall. Oh my God, the wishing star chandelier light fixture. Love, 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 love. It's beautiful. I love the colors they went with, the overall spaces, we'll talk about our favorite lounge in a little bit, but love it, love it, love it.
Yeah. Going up to the ship, it is every bit a Disney ship. On the outside, it is the classic, beautiful, famous, from the Disney Magic onward looking Disney ship, except everything sparkles and shines. Like
so sparkly.
The Dopplers are shiny. The windows are all glistening. And what's funny about a brand new ship is that you might think, well, it's brand new. There won't be rust or anything anywhere. It's on the ocean. So yes, you will be able to find rust, but it is the sparkliest of ships I have ever been on. And as Christy said, the scale and scope of the Grand Hall is more breathtaking than any other entrance onto a Disney ship. The not quite Disney-ness of it is honestly refreshing. It's not like on the other ships where they have those bronze, like, look at Mickey Mouse going on a vacation, on each deck. I don't know what we're calling that, but those bronze statue figure wall painting things. That's not there. Instead, it's just this like beautiful stained glass, giant royal French columns. Everything kind of flows and curves into itself. There aren't sharp edges anywhere, whereas the atrium on all the other ships is a box. It's a square. And so the effect of coming onto the ship for the first time is stunning.
Does that kind of translate through the ship then, as far as, because it seems like they have so many different IPs on this ship, does it transition as you move from space to space? Do you have that feeling?
Oh yeah, there's not a straight line on this ship. It is so hard to just navigate and find whatever you want to find, because it's like curvy and nooky and cranny. It's like a whole English muffin up in there.
And which hallways have like a dead end, or which, because around, there's only the two elevator shafts. So there's the front and the back. So which ones, when you're in the aft, they get you around the theater and it's like in the middle going back up. It is a little bit of walking out of the way, but they did it so that they could utilize all the space in the most beautiful way possible.
There's just so many distinct spaces. I I can't understate how many like random things there are just to discover and not where you would expect them to be. So like you're walking around and next thing you know, here is this place or that place. And because it's not a centralized ship, it does feel like more adventurous. It feels more like, what am I going to find if I walk around on this deck? And Christy and I are confident we didn't see everything.
100%.
We tried. Like, we actually tried. We literally sometimes left our room just to tour around places on the ship we had never been.
Mm-hmm.
But still, we don't have any idea what Senses Spa looks like really deep down in it. We only went to the very front of it and looked through windows. And then there are a bunch of other spaces. Don't know where they're at. I remember seeing that they were on the ship, but I don't know where they are.
So let's also throw this out there. This is a media cruise, basically. Preview cruise. So
Pre-inaugural.
The Wish people like Shannon, our friend Shannon, that was on it as well, that won access to go to it as well. So this is kind of a practice cruise for the cast members still. So it'll be different. It'll be interesting to see kind of the word as people go on the inaugural, and then also as we sail later in the month, hopefully together, to see how it's different. Let's just start with the staterooms then, kind of overall feel of the staterooms. Christy.
Beautifully decorated and appointed. Oh, and the artwork. And there's different artwork based upon where your ship or where your cabin is located on the ship. So different floors have different artwork. And somebody already has made a Google chart, I kid you not, of which floors have which artwork. So if this is something that's important to you, you can do a search and find that Google chart because it's in the groups already with which floors have which. So I had gotten, as a reminder, I was there as an invited travel agent, and we received some informational pieces about the Wish, including the sizes of the square footage of the rooms. And so we actually texted Steve at one point and said, okay, this is the square footage. What is it on the Dream and the Fantasy? They are smaller, and it is noticeable. And there isn't a lick of storage to speak of. If you don't have a family veranda. Now, if you have a family veranda so this is my hot tip. If you have a family veranda, check to see if it sleeps a party of 5. Get the party of 5 room because that has an extra side cupboard next to the drop-down bed. If you don't have the Murphy bed, then you get a mirror, according to somebody I'd met. So check, do a search. Check to see if that cabin holds a party of 5 or call Disney to ask. And then you can... That is the better of the family veranda rooms. That has the storage that I think the regular veranda cabins are missing. Go on.
How was the bathroom?
Better.
Okay.
Superior.
Yeah. The water pressure, though, the beautiful water pressure from all of the original ships, gone. We're saving water. Yeah. So whatever, it's fine. You can get your shower in. But you can't get your shower in like 1 minute, like on those other ships, because it just comes at you. It's better. And my hot tip for the bathrooms is take that. So there's the swinging now door to get in and out of the shower. Push it in while you're in there getting ready. So you just have that much more room, because you have that free space to put your arm in. So push it in.
Chris, you slept on the bunk bed. You're taller. My son's getting taller for families of 4 or whatnot that are still sharing staterooms. And have bigger kids. How did that work for you?
So I am taller
than every person in the world.
Yeah, I'm like 6'2". And I'm also not like the tiniest person. So I would rate like the sleep quality of the mattresses on the couch at like a 4 3 out of 10. But I didn't like wake up all night or like wake up feeling like pained. So it's not like the worst sleep quality. But I think the reason I slept so hard each night is because of the motion of the ship and the exhaustion of running around for 3 days. I'll just say, if you are used to the luxury of the queen size bed or whatever, this is not even in the ballpark of that. It is an uncomfortable bed. However, I can't compare it to the other ships, and my belief is that the other ships are just as uncomfortable. All I just want to prepare you for is there's no leaps or bounds in that area. It is a very thin foam mattress that you're sleeping on. Blake slept on the pull-down bunk up top, and there's a cute little fairy godmother sticker on the roof, on the ceiling. And I think for a child that's very tiny, they're not going to know the difference. They're not going to think twice about it. But Steve, your son might be like, oh, I'm sleeping on a very firm foam mattress.
So it's the same as the Magic and everything else. He's been talking about that already. So no change there then. All right. Did you have any thoughts on the stateroom, Chris? We'll kind of jump through these. I'm not trying to hurry you through it, but just so we can
No, we had a Moana room. It was gorgeous. The art in the room is very beautiful, and the art differs from room to room. We don't know if it's floor to floor or room to room. I haven't figured out how you would know what art was in your room. It could be no rhyme or reason, or it could be very specific that every room on this floor is this character or whatever. But our room was Moana, which means there were exactly 2 pieces of art in the room that reflected the movie Moana. Above the bed, there was a beautiful painting of Te as the like island goddess and Moana sailing towards the island. And then above the couch was a beautiful picture of Moana walking with the water swirling behind her because, you know, the water is like a character in that movie. I think the lighting is better. The electrical, like the number of outlets seems to be better, or at least sufficient. Everyone was able to find their, like an outlet for their things.
Couple of outlet points.
Right.
One is that on the one side of the bed, so the side closest to the bathroom, had USB plugs and that round European plug. So make sure if you have the new iPhone charger with the lightning, with the quick charge, and it has the USB-C plug, you need to have a different base or a different USB plug, so that really just a USB plug if you're going to charge your phone next to your bed, because one side doesn't have the USB-C nor the full plug. The other side seemed to have everything. So didn't quite make sense how they laid that out, but a million plugs in this room. And then one more note, Shannon Ford, who has a YouTube channel and Instagram and all that, friend of the show. She had brought her Dyson, which is fancy blow dryer that the people will know, brought that and brought like maybe a higher end curling iron or straightener or something. And I believe that neither of those items would actually heat up in her cabin for her. There was definitely, she finally got an answer that there is a wattage limit. And so just to note that, this morning, I think, plugged in, or late last night, plugged in my straightener, and it heated up. It did all the things it was supposed to do. So my not fancy straightener worked just fine, but other fancy ones do not.
So note, I don't want to get too deep. Note on this: if you're going to bring your own stuff, you might want to ask your stateroom host. And this goes for any cruise line. Anawik brought her own hair dryer. She has a big, huge, heavy duty one, an NCL, and it blew the circuit breaker twice. And I was like, why did you do it a second time? We had to go to get him to reset the circuit breaker, and they were not happy with this. But if you're going to bring, I'm not talking about curling irons or things like that. Just if you're bringing something that's like heavy duty wattage, maybe talk to your stateroom host before you plug that in and use it. So a couple questions.
Before your questions. The hair dryer, though, in the stateroom is fantastic.
There you go.
It is tons of airflow, tons of pressure, whatever. Very nice.
Okay. You guys didn't have a Murphy bed at all, did you? Okay, so
sadly.
unfortunately, they did not get to test the Murphy bed. Then we have one comment.
It looked nice, though. I saw it in one of the cabins I was in.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I can't see all the users. I apologize to everybody. Here. It's I've heard that each floor has 2 characters and connecting rooms have different characters. So on your floor, one room is Moana and the connecting room is Little Mermaid. So
cool.
There you go. All right, let's jump into dining. You guys got to try all 3 of the dining rooms without getting into too many specifics. Let's start with the Avengers Academy first, Chris.
Can we just say, let me start this before we pick through, because really this answer applies to everyone. They are all amazingly themed, like to the silverware, to the decorations on the wall, to the whole, like the theming goes all the way through.
Yes. And they're done. The theming done.
Right. They didn't have to add it. It's done.
Okay, Marvel. My opinion is it is fun. It is loud.
Very loud. I hope they adjust that.
It is not the restaurant you want to be in to have a lot of conversation.
Or a formal dinner.
Well, there's nothing formal about it. That's true too. Are we doing opinions right now or no?
No, just kind of overview. You can throw your opinion in.
Yeah, I mean, the overview is that you are attending a new technology showcase in a theater style, or in a restaurant with video screens. And I guess the video screen thing is just not my favorite.
That's okay. You can have an opinion on that. Throw that out there.
Yeah. So, let's think about every other ship. Every other ship has a video screen focused restaurant, right? And that video screen focused restaurant is Animator's Palette. This is absolutely the Animator's Palette replacement. If there were to be an Animator's Palette replacement on this ship, it is Worlds of Marvel.
But it is not Animator's Palette.
But yeah, it's more distracting than Animator's Palette. Let's just say that. I'm a Marvel fan, though. So
the screens are amazing, like crisp, like they're sitting back there having a chat with us for real.
Yeah, my opinion is that I liked it and I'd like to do it again. But
well, that's good.
When we do spoilers, I will tell you a little more later.
Okay, Christy, any thoughts on that? Otherwise, let's go to Arendelle.
The commentary, generally speaking, really quite cute. So again, we'll talk more. We're not going to give away their dialogue, but we could talk more in the spoiler section. Okay. And funny things like, is the silverware a spoiler? Maybe that's a spoiler.
We posted it on our Instagram. So
it was ready. Like the spoon I got for my dessert was giant. like
I didn't know if Christy could fit it in her mouth.
Like they grew it with their growing machine before they delivered it.
Yeah. And we also saw that there's a sippy cup or like a souvenir cup for youth that is super cute.
Oh yeah, with the little machine.
Yeah, it's a
cup for $20.
Souvenir
apparently.
Cup for $20 of the machine that is sitting on the middle of every table, which that's cool. If I had known about it, I probably would have gotten it. I'll definitely get it.
Let's move on to Arendelle. We're gonna run out of time.
What's our hurry? What's our hurry, Steve?
Well, if you want to get into spoilers, I know that you guys we still have to talk about the pool deck, the Aquamouse entertainment, all this stuff. So, all right, Arendelle.
Oh my God. I think as far as an entertainment venue for a meal, this was our favorite. My son probably picks Marvel, but this was our favorite in terms of the entertainment aspect of it.
Yeah. It's
there is better. A sightline. Yeah. There's a sightline question somebody asked. we didn't have a sightline issue. I can see that there could be, because the columns are a little bigger than they needed. They could have gotten away with a smaller column and gotten their point across. And you can totally see how some of those columns would have blocked the stage, that we never even saw what it was really like. So, because we were kind of far back. So you could be far back and still see, and there's not a lot to actually see. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I would say it's better sightlines than any other restaurant-based show. Like, it's better than Tiana and better than
Rapunzel.
whatever, Tangled. But from a show standpoint, it's the first time they've had an animatronic in a restaurant. So that's cool. There's some tech there. The voice of the main band member, at least in this initial sailing, was like unreal. Like jaw on the ground, unreal. Gave me the chills. Also, if you're a Frozen fan, and those of you who know me know that Frozen 2 is my love, they have a ton of really cool Easter eggs. Like, they sing a song that was cut from Frozen 2. And they sing it in this show. So things like that are just cute and fun. And if you know those sorts of songs and stories, then you get to experience that. So, but we won't tell you the finale or many more details of it, except that Christy and I both agreed we liked it.
All right. The restaurant I'm most excited about, 1923. Who wants to take that one?
So this one we're not talking about food yet.
Like amazing theming.
Amazing. And like, I need them to offer a tour where we can go and tour that room with somebody. In fact, Disney, you could charge us and to explain all of the little details. I would pay to see in that theater. Steve's like, no, don't charge us. But I would pay to see the details, like explained to me by somebody in a small group setting. There's so many little windows with like animation and then stuff to go with them, animation. Props.
It's almost all exclusively animation. I don't think I noticed any film that wasn't an animated film highlighted. But basically, what it is art from the development of these movies, maquettes, which are beautiful, detailed maquettes, and then real-world prop replicas from those same movies. So, as an example, we were sitting not too far from a Tangled one, and it had the maquettes, the clay sculptures of all the Tangled characters. It had original art from the movie, and it also had things like Flynn Rider's bag that had the crown in it for the whole movie, or stuff like that. So that's everywhere, and that's all the theming you're going to get. There's no loud music. There's no like someone running up to your table to like put you in the middle of a storyline. It is just good old-fashioned fancy cruise dinner. And we can't wait to talk about the food there because we have our thoughts.
Food, then. Let's jump into it.
Okay, well, 1923 is the best restaurant.
The best. We ordered 8 billion dishes that everyone was better than maybe the last or whatever. So good. Like
they have a filet mignon on the menu. That's
real.
Filet mignon, like grilled and everything, to order.
Oh, with a good peppercorn sauce.
Yeah.
Something.
There were these potatoes that none of us can pronounce that were like basically
like an au gratin
potatoes, but they were the best thing. The desserts were delicious. It was just like, and they have a burrata appetizer. Oh my gosh, that's so good. And if I got that appetizer in Los Angeles, it would have been $20. Like they give you a whole ball of burrata on a plate. Like,
half a ball.
all we can say is that we loved the food there. And
not the churros, though. There are churros on that menu, and I didn't even try to order them, but Dave and Chris ordered them, and they said the consistency was wrong, but
cold, sitting under a heat lamp or something. I don't know, but they were worse than Disney World churros.
Not Nomad Lounge. You get to try that, but not so. That meal is great. And let me, while we're talking about meals, give my pro tip for my allergy people. If you have an allergy, especially if your allergy is like maybe just gluten or just one thing or another, make sure you look at the full menu and the allergy menu. They have allergy menus. I will be posting these at some point, but in the next week or whatever. But make sure you post the whole menu, or you look at the full menu and the allergy, because the 1923 had several items, including this almond cake that was the best dessert I ate all week, that wasn't on the allergy menu, that they were like, here, place your entire order. There were several things on these menus that were only on the regular menu, because if it didn't cover 7 allergies, then they didn't put it on the allergy menu, which is kind of ridiculous. Let me have all of my choices. So make sure you're looking at the real menu. And then our head waiter kind of said, they're trying to tell us not to let people order from restaurants that aren't the restaurant they're dining at. But I will 100% on our next cruise be ordering from the restaurant that's not the restaurant that I'm dining at, because some of the food choices are just not that great at some of the restaurants.
Well, I think he almost was specifically talking about 1923, because my belief is that they are putting the most expensive dishes in that restaurant as well, because the vibe of that restaurant is not chicken schnitzel. The vibe of that restaurant is filet mignon, and I'm surprised they didn't find a way to shoehorn your escargot in there, Steve, because that's the vibe. It's like fancy California 1920s cuisine. That's what they're going for. Even the green beans on my plate were wrapped in a bacon bow tie. So they're just doing the most with that restaurant in terms of food. So they're probably like, we don't have enough filet mignon on this ship for everybody to just keep ordering it every night from this restaurant. So that's why when they come here, and when I looked around, everyone ordered the filet mignon. It was like every table I looked at, there was someone eating the filet mignon.
But what did I order? Dish. What did I order with my filet?
A rack of lamb.
A little lamb chop course.
Yeah.
Which had the yummy potatoes. So make sure if you order the filet, ask for the potatoes from the lamb chop meal, because those potatoes are superior, and they're superior to the ones that come on the filet.
Okay. Food at the other restaurants, because Steve wants to mosey on along.
Some patience.
We will say that I would say probably next on the list in terms of food quality, that's a toss-up. Honestly, the other 2 restaurants to me have about the same quality. My favorite dessert was at Arendelle, but my husband Seth will hate this dessert because it's almondy, and he hates that flavor of almond. But I liked the chicken schnitzel. I know, and that's on the Marble menu. So I would say the other 2 restaurants are a nice wedding, if you will.
Yes, it's not the same chicken schnitzel, though. It's not our normal, where the chicken is in oil still and that they pan seared it. It is tasty. It is a tasty fried chicken. And they did not serve it to me my first day. So I had to get it the second day. And then also, Steve, what do you think of when you hear the word ribeye? What do you think you're getting?
Oh, well, pink, kind of.
Like a steak or prime rib?
Yeah, more like prime rib.
So you think it's like prime rib?
Right.
Because to me, when I hear the word ribeye, I think of a steak.
Yeah.
But It's not on this ship. Every ribeye, which is in like both Marvel and Arendelle, are not as good prime rib.
It's roasted beast that has been sliced. Like, which is not a steak. I don't understand. That was a weird thing that kept happening to us.
Heard that, I guess. He hears it. But wasn't there prime rib on a menu as well? So like in the first, I think we talked about this. Well, we talked about this on the live, so it doesn't really count, or something, a snippet maybe. But the first day's lunch in the restaurant was the same as all the original ships. So that lunch is the same. But we got to eat it in 1923, which was lovely. And we started to love that restaurant even then.
Okay, just touch on this one real quick. Marceline Market. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Like it?
Love the theming of Marceline Market. The food is the same. It's fine.
Okay. How about...
But somebody asked us a question for Marceline Market. Do they play Jimmy Buffett style Cabanas music? And they do not. But what they play is instrumental versions of all of our favorite songs.
That's kind of cool.
It is so cool. In the theming, they have like these little sections. It's like, so here's the thing with The Wish. They thought of every nook and cranny and the Imagineering that went into this is off the charts. And literally there could be an entire 8-hour tour going through this ship, explaining stuff, and they still wouldn't explain it all. But like in the back, they have different light fixtures. They have different decor in each of the different rooms in the Marceline Market. Maybe the con is that it's a lot of walking. And if you're doing this with a family and you're even doing all the walking to try to coordinate, and it's a giant. So if you don't already have a space that your family is going to be like going to all the time, it's a lot to try to find one another because it's big. Like Chris and I went on a walkabout one day. We were trying to find a head waiter. That was a little bit of a problem for me ordering food for my specific dietary requirements. And there was like, I think we walked for like 3 minutes to get from the front of the restaurant to the back, at least. Like giant, very long, not as wide as Cabanas is, not as much outdoor seating, very limited outdoor seating in Cabanas. We did walk through there. But oh my God, I can't wait to just spend more time there. And here's another thing. They took away and I know we're pointing out things that maybe they missed the mark on, but we loved this ship. So you have to remember that. But our listeners need to know what to expect, right? The refrigerators in the cabins don't chill milk or don't keep milk cold enough. I'm going to bring our thermometer on our next cruise to really do a test on that. But so that meant that when I needed to give my child milk, I had to leave the cabin every day, twice a day to get him, his nighttime milk and his daytime milk, because the refrigerator can't keep milk cold. Like, this is a ship for children, right? And there's nowhere to get milk at nighttime. Remember on all the original ships and in the morning, there's nowhere, only Marceline Market. And do you know how far Marceline Market is from the other end of the ship, from forward to back? Like, it's a hike. And in the evening, Marceline Market's not open, but that's the place you have to go to get the milk. So you have to go in there and say, hello, who's here, before they close that big door, which they started to do at Chris and I, because we weren't supposed to be in there, but because we did some snippet recording from in there. But you had to like find somebody who may have been rolling silverware to bring us a milk container, or order it, I guess, from room service. But who needs 40 minutes to order your milk? So I know I've just went on a 5-minute rant over this milk situation, but they don't have it in the quick service stations, and it doesn't make sense. And also, there's only like one set on each side of the ship of quick service or of water and Coke stations. So like, let's say you want to eat at Marceline Market for lunch. And let's say you want to get a beverage. You have to clear walk across, but you want to eat outside because there's beverage stations in Marceline Market. So you have to like go out of your food, which is kind of a long walk to get out to the outside of Marceline Market, and then walk clear across the pool deck to get to the other side to get your beverages. Like, they were saving spots, I guess, for more pools and stuff. But if you're going to close, then the access to people getting water and beverages from cabanas in the evening from Marceline Market, to me, I would like more water stations, more beverage stations.
So the question was, do you guys know if there's a water bottle filler on deck 4?
Yeah, but
there are water bottle fillers.
Is it on 4 or is it on those stairs?
There are water bottle fillers on deck 4 and 5.
Okay.
So the running track is gone, unless you really like cardio and you want to run up and down stairs.
Steep stairs. They're steep, by the way, too. They're not even just like regular. They're steep.
But if you don't mind the stairs, you can technically walk from deck 4 to deck 5, and then the boardwalk is actually on deck 6. So you could walk that length of the ship in that way, and there are water bottle fillers on those outdoor areas.
Okay. Let's move on to entertainment. Chris, talk about the theater. I think you said, I saw a post saying that you love the theater.
Yeah, I like the theater. So they gave us this book on the making of the Disney Wish, which I want to borrow it before I leave and read it and then give it back to you before I leave, because I could finish reading that while I'm here. But there was a ton of really fascinating stuff in there. One of the things they talked about is that the elevators posed a huge problem for the design of the Walt Disney Theater on this ship, because the elevators are taking up space that normally would have been backstage area on the other ships. And so they had to take seats out of this theater. It's smaller than on the Dream and the Fantasy. So the Dream and the Fantasy, I think, seats 1350, and this one seats 12 something. So it's a little bit smaller seat-wise, but there's not a bad sight lines. They're like, you can see the things that are on the stage. The entire theater is projection mapped, so they can reflect images on every inch of that theater, and they do.
And it's amazing. It's amazing, and it makes you feel like the thing they're projecting is actually happening and that you're in it. And they won. They hit the mark on that.
Yeah. And so everyone knows by now that Aladdin is not ready. We did not see Aladdin. Nobody saw Aladdin. There was no Aladdin. We didn't think we were going to get to see Little Mermaid because Little Mermaid isn't ready. But we did see Seize the Adventure. We believe that we did not see all of Seize the Adventure because it was only 25 minutes. So...
And there were like random characters we loved season. Yeah.
So many other characters that we never saw during the show. So we were like, maybe they have numbers that we just didn't get to see. But of the things we saw, amazing, loved it. It's a really good show. They have the wildest arrangements of music, and I'm into it. Captain Minnie is like talking and moving her mouth and eyes and doing the whole thing. And Goofy is being goofy, and there's very little Donald, thankfully. So it just has a lot of like solid, good old-fashioned Disney vibes. And get this, everybody, there is not a 30-year-old 5-foot woman playing a 13-year-old boy, and that is my favorite part about that show. So, yeah, I would say Seize the Adventure is going to be the best show on the ship. That's my hunch. But we did get to see a dress rehearsal of Little Mermaid. And we actually had an eventful night last night. So Christy and I never even got to talk about what we thought about Little Mermaid. So maybe during the spoiler section, we'll talk about that. But I will say, with the biggest grain of salt, They wanted to make it so clear to us that we were not watching a show that had ever been seen by people before. They were
told us like 17 times.
They were like, you are the first audiences. This is a dress rehearsal. This show is not to be filmed. It is not very ready.
But it felt ready, except that I 100% believe that Triton is the backup Triton and that the original must have been something happened, because I don't feel like that was the originally cast Triton. However, it was good, and the costumes were beautiful. It was good.
Yeah.
I was loved that we got to see the dress rehearsal. And Dave even said we have to bring Blake.
Yeah. We're very excited to see it. My hunch is that Aladdin won't be on our cruise on the 25th.
But we don't, to us, that one was never one that we were like, oh my gosh, we are missing out on Aladdin. Forget it.
But Steve, you're not going to be able to sit up at that Rose Bar and skip out on the shows. You got to go see them with us.
No, I'm really excited to see those too. How about just entertainment around the ship? Did they have live music in different venues? Did they do any stage performances like in the Grand Hall or anything else on top of that? Anything else without giving anything away?
There weren't the normal like people singing before dinner that I've seen on some ships in the Grand Hall. But there were like lounge singers.
And it could have been the Grand Hall issue, could have been that there were so much media filming stuff that a lot of times the before dinner times, they were doing filmings of the different families. And there was a lot of media filming occurring in the Grand Hall throughout these 3 days.
Yeah.
Okay. So as far, and I don't want to get too deep in the weeds in this one, but other than like just the normal stuff as far as adult game shows in the evening, trivia, anything else new that they added that you know?
The absolute sleeper hit in the entertainment, and I cannot believe I'm saying this, is the pirate parlay party whatever. I hate Pirate Night, but
same. Oh, the changes they made. Oh,
I was out there into it. I was like, yes, this is it. I'm living. I can't wait to bring my kid. I will sit in the 45 million degree humidity in the middle of the ocean all night to watch this show, because it's a rock concert themed to like 80s rock ballads with Captain Red from Pirates of the Caribbean as the lead vocalist.
And
what more could you ask for?
And she's amazing.
It has a storyline. It has a finale. The fireworks are launching off to live music, not a recorded thing.
And this is what they're intending to do for this Pirate Night going forward. So for this ship. So this is not a one-time act. It's a 15-minute show with 3 minutes of fireworks. And I am so glad that I felt that I had to go with Chris to this event, because I loved it. I loved it.
So, I mean, here's my one negative. You know, with Disney being such good storytellers, they've really missed the mark generally on these pool deck parties. And they can do it because they do it with the Marvel one. So I'm excited to hear that they finally doesn't take much effort to put a little bit of a storyline and really make a fun show out of it, rather than just some random loose base thing. And they're just adding things here and there. And you're like, what did I just see? Why did I waste my time up here?
They had mullets.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay. Let's keep moving on. Adult stuff, lounges, favorite one. Thoughts about the adult spaces.
Oddly enough, I don't know what happened with time, but we didn't have enough of it.
Okay.
And we were up late every single night. And so the best lounge for beauty, but I don't know that it's adult. I don't know that there's a sign.
It's adult though.
Do you think they kick kids out?
They definitely, I did not see kids in that area at night. It was
the Bayou,
singers
by the way.
And cocktails. And it is the Bayou. The Bayou is right off of the Royal Hall.
The atrium, the Grand Hall.
The Grand Hall. It's right across from Hyperspace Lounge and Nightingale's. Nightingale's is far and away the smallest piano bar on the ships.
Mm-hmm.
It's tiny. I can't believe there's a piano in it. Hyperspace Lounge, small, extremely popular. You have to make a reservation to drink there.
And we seem to think that the private function sign that's in front of it is because they need to let people know they need to make a reservation. So even though it says private function, you still walk up to the person with the iPad or whatever computer to make your reservation for a later time. And our understanding is you make a reservation for a 45-minute block, but the private function sign was never gone. And we were like, well, how do we see this? So she let us like go in and see it. So that wasn't a problem. The door is so cool. It's a really cool, it's a cool lounge. It's got cool seating. We, as a group, I think would all love to go in there and hang out. And so we definitely need to see if we can get a booth because they have these cool booths. And even as a non-Star Wars person, I was impressed by this space.
So we don't know as far as making a reservation. Will you do it on the app? Because I saw a picture.
You have to do it in the person.
I saw the DCL duo had our dude Wes had a reservation where it showed his name and his wife's name.
But I think they made it.
And he had a screenshot of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be that once you make a reservation, it shows up in your app.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I had a meeting I had to attend that was in my app, but I didn't make it and I didn't have a choice in it. It was just like, you need to be here. So.
Okay, last question. How's the vibe instead of having the adult space, like either all the way forward or all the way back? How is that vibe? Having it around the ground hall.
I personally love it that way. I feel like I get more out of it by having different spaces to be able to go to. Oh, that keg and whatever word comes after keg, which Compass. Is the bar. But is it though?
Yeah, keg and Compass.
Okay. Is I feel like the lounge that Steve would like the most is actually, it is a great lounge as well. I was in there a couple times. Blake and I did a craft in there. But it is big. So I feel like, and it's light. It's not like dark and sort of in a corner like on the other ship. So I do think, Steve, like that lounge is going to potentially be your favorite and is going to do everything you want for that type of lounge.
Chris, your thoughts about the vibe with it around the Grand Hall?
So my favorite YouTubers were on the ship with us. Their
That's
YouTube
cute.
channel's called Ordinary Adventures. Freaking love them. If you're looking for a YouTube couple that does Disney stuff, so look up Ordinary Adventures. But we were talking to them and they told us that they were at the Quiet Cove in the middle of the day and that it was like a party back there, like Corona bottles, people playing like their own music. It was
Like with
loud
speakers.
and raucous and not a quiet adult area, which I have never been on a Disney ship where that was the case. So I was like, really? And then I went back there again on my own one day. And legit, there are a lot of just loud party vibes in the Quiet Cove now because it has that infinity pool and it's off the back of the ship. So I don't know, folks. That area might be the only part of the new adult thing that I don't love, which is that it is it is a bit loud. It's the Cove Cafe is the smallest on any ship.
And like the furthest walk away.
Yeah, so there are some adult areas that I think are downgraded on this ship. However, the infinity pool off the back is cool. The bars everywhere you look, fun. I feel like the ship is adventurous. Like everywhere you go is like, surprise, you found a bar. And with very few exceptions, it's super well themed. My two exceptions on the theming are Luna, which if there's theming in Luna, I can't find it.
Except for that.
There's like some LED stars on the ceiling, maybe constellations on the ceiling, maybe, but it's minimally themed. And then there's this like event space called Triton Lounge, y'all, not a decoration in sight. I have no idea what is happening in that lounge. So I'm like, that must be one of the unfinished spaces, because what does this have to do with Triton?
And it's behind, and it's like they do like family game showy stuff in there too. So they do that in Luna and at Triton's Lounge. And there's like a big door. Like you don't think you should go through that door. Like it's like a private cigar bar or something, but it's not. And so that is a confusing space. And we did finally, I don't know, sometime yesterday, finally we're like, we need to walk through this because something was going to be happening there. And we stumbled upon it finally. And the movie theaters, talk about those for a second, Chris.
I went in them. No one else did, but they're super well themed, everybody. They're so cute. I can't even handle it. Somebody somewhere said that there might be bad sightlines. I can't verify because I didn't watch a movie in it. But what I can tell you is you can get twice the number of showings in a day because there are 2 movie theaters.
And they were like piggybacking what would start
like basically
which.
A movie starts every hour on the ship now. And there's a Preludes popcorn bar area between the 2 of them. It is the Neverland Theater and the Wonderland Theater, which are also just adorable names. They have like wood carvings on the outside.
The wood carvings
has themed lighting and metal and brass. And I don't know, they're just really pretty theaters. The seats look big and comfy. So I think it's a win. I think those are going to be better than the Buena Vista on any of the other ships.
And from there, let's move quickly into the artwork on this ship. That
can we go back just real quick?
Yeah.
Just to get a couple plus yes or no answers. So from Tim, he says, so is the adult area as small as it looks then?
Yes.
Since you were talking about it, Chris, that back area compared to the Dream Class with Satellite Falls?
It is, but it's tiered. It's technically 2 or 3 levels, that adult area. But it is small. Is it smaller than the other ships, though?
Yes.
Square footage?
No, well, it's hard to say because there's big, long walkway.
And there's huge walkways and levels. So at the end of the day, it might not be smaller. But the pool off the back of the ship is maybe 20 feet wide. There's 1 hot tub for adults now. And it's off on the side of the ship. So there are little things like that are probably, and like I said, the Cove itself Cove Cafe is extremely small. It is intimate. And very unfortunately, they don't have their cold brew maker yet. So I had to drink iced Americanos all week.
So one last question. Jennifer says, can't wait, love the layout, but I hate you have to go back to the adults area in the back to get a decent drink on the Dream Class ships. There's only one way in and out of the adult area on one side. Is that
the Aquamouse blocks your entrance on the other side. So the only way in is on whatever side of the ship that is.
You have to go all the way around too to get to the. So not only can you only enter in one side, but the Cove Cafe is almost all the way back around where the Aquamouse would be. So you're literally looping that entire way up, like, an angled walkway. And can you even get there if you were inaccessible? Like, I don't know if it was 100%.
Oh, no, there were. The funny thing is they have like wheelchair lifts on all the stairwells.
But like the kind where they have to take the ramp and put it down, because that would be a lot.
No. It's automated. You push a button and then the ramp flips down and then carries the side of the staircase. I'm not saying that that's probably the best, but I noticed things like that everywhere. Even to get onto the stage in the atrium, there was something like that. So there's a lot of wheelchair accessibility. And to my knowledge, I did not see very many people on our cruise using wheelchairs, but I never saw someone in a wheelchair using one of those features. So I don't know if they're all functional yet or exactly how that's working.
But in terms of coffee, go on.
There are elevators, and you'll hear not so hot takes from everybody on this. There's only 2 elevator banks instead of 3. That's so frustrating. I think for all the extra space we got out of removing that middle elevator bank, I'm a fan of having only a forward and aft. I get that we have to do a little bit more walking, but there's such cooler spaces in the middle of the ship. Like basically, if you draw a line where the middle elevator shaft is on the other ships, all of the coolest spaces are in that exact spot.
Is the bayou big? Question.
Yes.
It is actually kind of big.
Okay.
Probably
so
like 20 tables maybe.
So bigger than the other lounges because Sarah says the other lounges look kind of like they're pretty small. Okay. And then Katie says we had a bit of the atmosphere on the Magic. I think it was NASA Day when everyone came back on the ship. I can say that we had a little bit of that over the Mediterranean too. I think there's some different vibes and on the ship sometimes. Okay. Artwork, Christy, overall.
Oh my gosh. So there is, Chris is making kissy faces. There is a machine that Blake was randomly playing with somewhere off of the main, like 3 floors, 3, 4, and 5. So maybe I think it was like floor 5, maybe, that sells some of the artwork. Like for the people that know at the Riviera, you could buy the artwork from around the Riviera on this machine, and then they like ship it to you somehow. I don't know, the artwork gets to you. So there is a machine, and I am dying to see. We did not have time in the next couple of weeks, in 2 weeks when we sail, what artwork is for sale, because this is the best artwork, like Disney artwork that I have seen. And I hope that they sell all these prints. Just amazing all over. Like you literally want to stop every nook, every walkway, right? Every staircase, landing to look at the artwork, because it is all really well thought out and beautiful, and artwork you'll want to see again.
It's also just like the other ships where the artwork previews what's on the deck above or below. So some of that previewing is in the theming in the rooms. For example, the deck above ours was Moana. The deck below ours was Little Mermaid, which makes a ton of sense because the rooms on our deck are Moana and Little Mermaid, apparently. So there's stuff like that. But overall, it's original art. It's weird art. And I love weird art. It's like there's a painting of Ariel that is not a version of Ariel you have ever seen, looking off at the castle. And it's like she's got braids in her hair, totally different vibes.
That painting is in one of the lounges, too. It was behind the bar somewhere. I don't remember where, but somewhere. But
the point is, there is art everywhere on this ship. Like,
you're gonna love it.
There's also these 2 massive hanging tapestries that are Cinderella themed that are hanging on either side of the 3rd and 4th floor. And there's a hand mosaic tile of Cinderella as well on the 4th deck. So there's just a bunch of really cool art details. The carpets all have special detailing. You can navigate the ship still by looking down at the stars, because the top point of the star is always pointing towards the bow. So just look at the stars down on the floor and the carpet in the hallways. You'll no longer get the Disney ship flags and the map of the world, but you will get some very beautiful starfish and things like that pointing towards the bow. So you can still navigate pretty easily. But yeah, in general, art is great. The art in the specialized rooms, like the Wish Tower Suite, which we got to tour, or we got to tour 1-bedroom concierge, the art in those rooms is next level. Like absolutely stunning, one-of-a-kind art pieces.
All right, I think Christy, I'm going to frustrate Christy. You're on mute.
I'm on mute.
Yeah.
You'll want to steal that artwork for sure, though. Like everywhere. I'm just like, can we just put this? Can we put this bowl or put this, whatever in our purse? It was, okay.
Okay. Last couple questions, unless you got something.
We haven't talked about the kids club. We haven't talked about the Aqua Mouse. We haven't talked about the pool deck. So just those are things that we have to briefly discuss. Which one do you want to do first?
Just a couple questions here. Does the ship feel more upselly with the spreading out of shops, bars, premium coffee spots?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, good. That's a good thing to hear. Let's talk about the kids clubs.
Okay. Blake loved them. And half of the stuff wasn't working at the beginning of the 3-day cruise, and almost everything was working at the end of the 3-night cruise. So really, they are closer to having the ship ready, because I know there was some concern about that. He did a night with an Imagineer that up until the Marvel stuff started working was his favorite. And they had a real Imagineer on working with the kids on this particular preview cruise. I imagine that that's going to be the case for the for the inaugural as well. And then I don't know what's going to happen after that. But they did like a captain, which we heard a preview. We heard what is the word I'm looking for? They promoted that there would be like a Captain Mini Academy type situation. Blake loved that. And actually, we have a snippet from him about it, but he even gave us more details at lunch today. Just really cool stuff that they did. Then they also had the Marvel Academy. God, Chris, do you remember what he said he did there? There was something about designing something.
You can design your own like Avengers costume and try it on. Which he said he was able to do at the last minute.
And that became his favorite. He was up later than he has ever been up on a cruise multiple nights in a row because they just kept having cool stuff that he wanted to do. So our biggest challenge this particular cruise is that because it was a media cruise as well, there was a lot of times during the cruise that the programming was closed. But the coolest thing that they do in these kids clubs, they have it set up where like the Star Wars room can be open for like you, Steve, to go to, but there can still be secured programming going on around it. So they no longer have the club or the lab, but they have like they just have the kids club, and then in it there's like
different
6
spaces.
different rooms. Yeah, Chris even said in our snippet episode, like she got lost, and we did. Blake shot off through the slide and then like took off, and so the 3 of us get down there finally, and we're like, "Where's the kid?" So we go off and looking for him, and we're each like, it was so big, it would take time to even get to the different sections. So you could do Star Wars Academy, something, and that could be open house, but then the other stuff could be secured programming for your kids. They have that cute little younger kid, like Mickey and Minnie cruise ship, jungle gym, taking over Andy's room, the new design for Andy's room, that they can open up to the nursery. So that either the nursery can have it as part of their either open house or secured programming, or the bigger kids can have it as part of their programming. They've really thought through. And this is the thing as I spit all over my computer. This is my takeaway from this trip. They really thought through the end result of what they were looking for. And I think that the restaurants will catch up eventually. That there's still that maybe, what does it look like in practice versus what we thought in our head? All of that will, in my thoughts and hopes, is that will catch up because it really is so well thought out. So all 3 of us went down that slide to the kids club. So when it's an open house time, they let you rip through it. It's fast. And my kid was super happy to slide down there every time. So I went on a slide then, and then I went on another slide.
Any thoughts, Chris, about the kids club?
Edge is disappointing. I toured Edge because that's the one that my kiddo's going to be in. And if your kid doesn't play video games, I don't know what they're going to do, because Edge is just like 7 TVs.
But is that what it's like now?
Maybe it is, but I didn't know that. I'm a parent who's never had a 13-year-old. So I'm looking at it like, wait, what type of programming is going to be offered? So, and when I asked them, they were like, we have all the different video games. And I was like, Cool.
There were board games, and something was going on in that edge because we were sitting and recording in Marceline Market the one night when it was closed, and some sort of jumping up and down excitement was going on in there.
So I think we'll have a really good review of, because I know Alex will be in it. So we'll have, because these things get overlooked, the older kid stuff, but we'll definitely have a good view with the Edge. To your point, I know what you're saying, Chris. You'd like to see more stuff up there, but I think a lot of like the Edge interactions, the kids are getting older. They're either going to play video games, or they've got a lot of things where they get them out doing scavenger hunts and doing things like that, where the kids kind of get to become friends. Like Alex got a group. There was like 5 or 6 of them. They were texting each other the whole time on our 9-night sailing, and they were doing stuff all over the ship. So I think it's, I don't think that they need to have as much in that space in and of itself. And it's more kind of a place, hey, let's come play some video games. They get to know each other, and then they start hanging out, and they're doing other things around the ship.
Yeah. They, one of our questions was, are the activities for the kids clubs, and this is true for the Vibe and the Edge as well, in the app, or is there like a schedule in advance or something? There's no schedule in advance, but all of the activities are in the app. So if it's time for the Captain's Academy, it'll say it in there, Captain's Academy, and then you can, and it'll say whether it's an open house or secured programming. I think it actually doesn't say it's secured. It just doesn't say open house. So you'll be able to see like if you could do it with your kid, or if your kid is doing it by themselves as part of their programming.
All right, let's talk about the pool deck. Chris is eating. So Christy, I'll let Chris, you do the Aqua Mouse, because I know you did the Aqua Mouse. Christy, what was your thoughts about the pool deck areas?
The pool deck is sort of how Chris described like the lounges and the nooks and crannies earlier. There is just a pool everywhere. Like you turn around a corner or you go up another set of stairs and there's another pool there. So we were worried that the pool would be too small, or that the pools would be too small, or that they would feel like crowded, and because there were all these little pools, how small were they? It's hard to tell because this was a media cruise. It wasn't a full cruise. We don't really know how many people were in it, but there were so many pools that you could just get up and go to another pool if that one was so crowded. If you were fine not being in the adult only space, because that pool is just small.
I mean, I'll come out and say, I think it's a light year leap over the other ships, because there are so many pools. And like we thought we were walking aft, but we were accidentally walking forward, because we were like, let's go look at the adult pools. And then we get forward and we just find that there are 2 pools in the front of the ship for kids called the Chippendale pool. I mean, for families. And those pools were cool too. And then we walked like on the main deck. It's all tiered and layered now, and every single pool can be covered so that they can have the deck parties on top of these pools. And I want to say, just in funnel vision, I sat with Blake in like 3 different pools watching Little Mermaid. And there was maybe 5 or 6 pools that can see the funnel vision TV. So there are pools everywhere. You could trip and land in a pool on this ship. And the sleeper hit pool for me was called Trixie Falls. And it is themed to the dinosaur Trixie from Toy Story 3. And it's like 2 inches of water and a waterfall that you can stand under. And on those hot summer sailings, this is where I could just picture sitting with my friends talking under a waterfall. And I loved that part. So I'm going to go ahead and say, for pools and water fun, best on the fleet.
Mm-hmm. And the splash pad is even improved. The splash pad on the Fantasy, so this is for the kids under 6. It says 6 and under. And that kids that are little ones that are still in diapers and or swim diapers can have access to that. So the rest of the pools you have to be potty trained to have access to. This is an improvement too. It's great on the Dream and the Fantasy, but this splash pad is even better. And it's got 2 slides. So based upon, and one of them, apparently Chris went down them both as a grown adult because nobody else was in there. So one of them was even more intense for the littles than the other one. So yeah, I think that was an improved space as well. Great. Now, the only thing that could be difficult for families is because there's so many pools and it's so vast and you could turn the corner and find a whole different pool. It will be more difficult to find your family when you are saying, let's meet at such and such pool. That's going to be a bit of, or your friends, whatever, the people you're saying, like, that'll be more of an issue, but really, right? These are not real issues. So awesome.
It's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have.
Was there a Mickey slide? I'm totally out to lunch with that.
No,
Okay, so
it's
called something different though, but
it's called Slidosaurus Rex, and it's right next to Trixie Falls. So obviously the dinosaur theming on point. Chris loved it. She was there the whole time. But none of us went on Slidosaurus Rex because it was closed always. It was open from like 2 to something, and we were never in a bathing suit or able to ride it. But it looks like it maybe has 3 big turns in it. Probably like a 20-second slide, but that's cool. I think it might be bigger. I think it might be slightly bigger than Mickey Falls.
Did it seem like kids are going to be slipping down the stairs all over the place with the pools being staggered?
No, I didn't think they seemed slippery at all.
It does have that rubberized, non-wooden, modern cruise ship deck on it. There are pools everywhere. So maybe people will be slipping and sliding, but I think we never saw that happening.
Okay. Well, let's finish it off, I think, with the thing that you were looking forward to most, Chris, when the ship was designed, was having a ride at sea. Mm-hmm. And then we'll get some final thoughts before we do a couple spoilers. Yeah,
so there are 2 different versions of the Aquamouse. We only rode on one version of it, but I rode it like 4 or 5 times.
More than that, for sure.
And it was called... I don't know the name of our version, but our version was Matterhorn themed, which love that, from California. But
I went on it.
Christy did go on it. Spoiler free, it is very much the Aqueduct 2.0. It is not. If the Aqueduct doesn't get to be called an attraction at sea, I'm a little confused about what our criteria is, because it is not very much more than that. It's better than Aqueduct for sure, because there's no Donald. But, and the stories are cute. The lift hill is fun. But I just want to flag for everybody thinking that they're going to get like a Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railroad type of thing. It's not on that level, even a little bit. It is a lift hill where you get to watch a Mickey short on the way up, and then you get to go down the aqueduct. And that's fine. That's all I need, I guess, for now. But because of an Easter egg that I found on it, I am pretty sure that the Aquamouse is going to be on all 3 of these ships that they are building. And that makes me just like ever so slightly sad for my dream of having the Haunted Mansion at sea, or like a full tilt land-based attraction at sea. Because I don't feel like it's at that level, personally.
Christy?
Explain. So the thing for me to know is the raft mechanism, the raft that they have you sitting in. If you're sitting all the way down on it, like one would sit on anything, you feel all of the different changes in elevation, if you will. And that was more than I was interested in. But my husband said, if you lift your butt up a little bit because you have like your legs reaching out, sort of reaching in front of you. So you really could sit up a little bit. And that would take some of the pressure that you get when you go over the changes that are occurring underneath you in the ride. So I would just I would do that. I would sit differently. We have one more area to talk about though that we didn't remember: the Hero Zone.
Well, okay.
I know. It's really the only thing is it's so cool.
Okay.
that it's fun for everybody. Just do it. Bring your socks because you have to wear socks. The kids kill it because they're just a little, and so they can get through everything so much quicker. So bring your socks. Get beat by your kid.
Yeah, I think that is going to be a huge hit with younger kids. Even Alex was looking at it like he wants to do it. He wants to race this. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I like that.
And that space is cool, especially for if you're in a hot place or you're in these cruises in the Caribbean or Bahamas that get hot and you want to do stuff together. There's like air hockey up there and ping pong, and it's upstairs. It's in an enclosed space. So you can do this like all the time, any hours that are open, you have access to this space. They use it for like a big giant gym during the different days. Somebody asked if it's an open play or you have to sign up. It is completely open play. There is no cost there. You have to be a certain height, which I took a picture of. So look into that. If your kids are littler, they won't be able to do it. There is a minimum height. I want to say it was like 40 inches, maybe, is whatever. Look that up. But you just show up, stand in line, and then it's your time to race. Awesome.
Well, I know I'm frustrating you guys a little bit because I know you guys could talk for hours on your experiences and everything like that. And
people have questions. We have to answer them, Steve. I know, well, it's not our fault.
If anybody else has any questions, you can continue to throw it out. If you think about something after listening to this that you would like us to answer, we'll make sure we get that out. And for you, the two of you, we can throw together another show too, as far as if we come up with some other angles that we want to cover. But I guess from this point on, we'll throw out a couple different spoilers. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers or maybe some harsher or better opinions of what they've talked about so far, then turn it off and go sail on the Wish and then come back and take a listen to it and see if they compare. But anything else?
So spoiler. Thanks everybody for listening. If you're not listening to the spoilers, we can't wait to share with you our next adventure on the Disney Wish.
There we go. All right. So we'll jump into it. We'll do just about 10 or 15 minutes here with some of the spoilers that you guys want to talk about. Who wants to go first?
Let's start, Chris. You explain what happens when you enter the ship.
So when you enter the ship, they gave me a wand. There were so many people invested in my journey of getting one of these. I did say that the pictures of them looked cheaper than I wanted, but now that I'm holding it, I don't really care. It is a little cheaper than I wanted, but it's a wand. It's an included wand, so I need to just be happy. We cannot say if adults will actually be allowed to have these on your sailing, but on our sailing, they allowed adults to have them. Mm-hmm. They put you on a spot on the floor if you want to watch it.
Not a real spot. They're just like, stand in this room, stand here. There's no actual spot.
But they put us on a flower, and the flowers are about as spaced apart as those old circles used to be. So we did stand on this giant peony thing on the floor, and then about 4 or 5 minutes later, they basically welcome you onto the ship. Cinderella and Prince Charming were up in the balcony waving at us the whole time. And then sort of a unusually dressed townswoman comes out and welcomes us and then tells us that we need to wish to start our cruise. And we wish, and when we wish, the star on the chandelier sparkles and shines and makes a noise to signify that our wish came true. Hot tip, have your little ones bring the wand with them to dinner or to the shows, because on the first night, they were like, everyone take out your wand. And no,
that was at the show, not at dinner, though.
Yeah, but you're going to the show after dinner. So my point is just like, what's the harm in carrying this around? Probably not a lot. So anyway, that is something about the intro that is a spoiler, is that the wands vaguely figure into the rest of your cruise. Maybe there was one other time they were referenced and people were bringing them out to start the show.
Do the end show now. Oh, unless Steve has a question for the middle, but let's work this right into the show that occurs the last night.
Right. So on the very, very last night, and I think it might start at like 10, 11, 12, maybe every 15 minutes, because they don't want people just gathering for one thing. They have a kiss goodnight where all of the, so hidden in the grand hall is lights. What do they call them? Fiber optic lights. And they're all over the columns and the pillars and the ceiling. And they're used to make magic effects happen on the opening night and on the closing night. And on the closing night, they play Cinderella, and it's like the chiming of the midnight clock. And then all the characters come out and you can greet them and things like that. So we saw that. I saw it with characters, and then later Christy and I saw it without characters, where they just play the effects. And it's cute. I don't know if it's worth keeping your kids up for, but it's cute. So yeah, those are the special things that happen in the Royal Hall. Grand Hall.
Okay. How about dining? Takes that you wanted to mention about dining?
Marvel is a 3-act show, for those of you curious. The first act is them establishing the little machine on your table. And then, after that, they just play clips from the movies on the screens. Like, all night. And it's so distracting. And if you have a little kid, like Christy's little kid, they're going to be watching those TV screens the entire night because they're massive and they're just sitting next to your table. And it's not storytelling. It has no rhyme or reason in the story. It's just a best of reel of the Avengers, just over and over. And then the screens blank out and they come back on and they continue the story. There's a very funny bit where you push the button on your table and you accidentally shrink the ship.
That is funny.
And then the final bit.
And that all occurs through the screen, though. Like, I wanted, Celebrity does, has you look at something that's, on your plate, and they do it in such a way where you can see down to your dish or whatever. It's not like a screen off to the side of the room that you're seeing this thing shrink. So I expected more. The story was enjoyable. Every time Paul Rudd, Ant-Man, I should have said that, but every time Ant-Man showed up, I enjoyed it. It's funny. Even as a non-Marvel person. Somebody asked if the showing of the movies are violent. I didn't actually watch any of them.
Yes. They are, probably, but there's no blood or
there were no words, right, during that?
No words. There's music that will really test your eardrums.
So loud. This show was so loud the whole time.
But the images, are they violent? Yes, in the sense that they show the Avengers fighting, but they're not bloody or gory, to answer your question. And then the finale of that show involves more Avengers than you expect coming onto the deck of the ship and saving the day. But it's all just something you see happen on the screen. And then as the grand finale, you meet Ant-Man and the Wasp. They come into the restaurant. They thank you for saving the day. There is very little in the way of giant food or micro food or tricks. So I would say
there was something kitschy at the end, but our service was so untimed that we don't even really know what happened because many people received a bowl of something that we never one time received.
Yeah, they hand out miniature chocolate chips as a parting gift, but we didn't get any of those, so we don't know. But that's the Marvel show. Do I think that they could have gone technologically further? I think they could have. But maybe, they're still testing and adjusting. And like I said, I want to see it again. And I enjoyed it. And I think my kid will love it. So I give it like a 7 out of 10. That's my thought.
The food, wasn't the food there like well, it was not. It was, okay, we're going to move on.
How about Arendelle? Anything about that stand out? Good show, bad show?
The music was the best. And what was interesting to me is there was a show, they were walking around, they were coming to your table, but it wasn't as interfering. Like Ant-Man, there was not, you couldn't talk as much because it was so loud and all the things. But like with the Frozen show, you know, we were thinking like, how much is Steve going to hate this show? And the music is so good that I even think you, the cynic anti-Frozen one that you are, is going to love it. I do think that. And the show is such a small portion. Like they go and they come back and they go and they come back. But to me, I don't know. It doesn't take up the whole night.
No, I like that. I think Tiana's does a really good job of that, where they come on, they play some music, and then they give you a little bit of space where your wait staff can interact with you, you get your food, you can talk a little bit, and then they come back and give you a little bit more of a show. So I do appreciate that.
We were told to arrive early to that restaurant, and that is true. You want to arrive so that your order can be placed before the show that starts way too early and the dinner service begins.
Okay.
The show starts exactly 15 minutes into the dinner service. So if you're supposed to be there at 5:45, the show started at 6 on the dot. I'll also say that there is an animatronic Olaf, which is cool because it looks similar to the Olaf in the Frozen ride at Epcot. And he goes around to the tables and interacts with people. Interestingly, he is probably the reason why Olaf's dessert dinner lunch picnic is not ready. But maybe not. Maybe they just don't have the like musical instruments on back order or something. There could be a million reasons, but he's ready for the show. The pacing in the show is a little off. They got to work on that. The lighting, honestly, there was one point where all the lights went out and I couldn't see what was on my plate anymore. And I was like, excuse me, we're still eating dinner here. But in general, some of the music in that show gave me straight up chills. Mm-hmm. It's comedic, it's funny, it does have a storyline, and it picks up exactly where Frozen 2 left off. And that storyline is that Elsa is throwing her sister and Chris off an engagement party. And some of our listeners have been wondering if there would be Snope, like snow soap that they blow out on the tables. But of course, that would make your food less palatable. So there is no Snope. The only ice magic effect is in the way of fiber optics in the ceiling. So take it or leave it. It's a little lackluster of a finale, but overall, the talent in that show is so good that I would forgive it. I give it like a 9.5 out of 10 in terms of how much I liked it.
But there was so there wasn't Snope, but there was a funny, like, cute little moment of like snow, but not snow with, I don't want to give that away necessarily, but it was cute and you will know what I'm talking about once you see it. And then it was funny, like you laugh out loud. Like, this is what I'm here for. A cute little laugh out loud, funny moment.
Katie says, ugh, so I should rewatch Frozen 2. Well, call Chris, FaceTime with him, and you guys can watch it together because that's his favorite show.
We will. I will gladly watch Frozen 2 with you because it's my favorite. Elsa's like my special.
But you don't need to watch it to get to know what is happening on this show.
Yeah, I mean, you get the concept of an engagement party. But remember, at the end of Frozen 2, Elsa stops being the queen and she gives over the kingdom to her sister. So her sister is Queen Anna, and Elsa is not a queen anymore.
She's living her best life. She's not with the pressure.
You know, maybe she's the ice queen of her own little world, but she is not the queen of Arendelle. And that is also sort of part of the story.
It is. Like, her living her best life is part of the story, I think.
Okay, so any other takes from your time around the ship that you guys want to talk about?
I haven't heard anyone else talk about the Easter egg on the Aquamouse. I feel like I found it, so I want to talk about that.
Okay.
On the lift hill of the Aquamouse, there is a radio playing, and the only 3 stations on the radio are 705, 706, and 718. And as soon as I had internet connection, I Googled what are the Disney ship numbers in Meyer-Werft. And I found a Scott Sanders blog from 2018 that said the next 3 ships are 705, 718, and then the ship after that is 706. And then I remembered the 3 of us talking about that when they announced it, and us being confused why 706 was being built after 718, and Steve telling us some boring engineer explanation for how the ship numbers fit in. And I thought, that is not something the vast majority of people will even pick up on. But that is the reason why I think the Aquamouse is going to be on all 3 ships, is because that Easter egg is saying the Aquamouse and ship 705, ship 706, and ship 718. So that's my hunch. And I think the Imagineers are telling us right now, you're going to get this attraction 3 times.
Yeah.
So, spoiler.
But to Chris's point about looking up something on the internet is 1,000 times better under the same, in theory, idea of the magic versus this. It actually was a premium internet. I didn't have lag really. Disney did, as they were hosting me, did provide me with premium internet package for the 3 days. And we had no lag whatsoever. It was zippy. And
the 3 adults in the cabin were able to seamlessly share internet. So you could decide.
I'm just kidding.
No. I mean, no. I think that you could go on the ship and decide we're going to pay for just one premium package, and then we'll give each of our kids an hour a day or whatever for them to have time on their phones to connect with their friends or whatever. But also, I found that iMessage on iPhones worked seamlessly every time.
So fast.
So just so everyone can calm their fears, it is probably not the best internet at sea, but it is the best internet in the fleet by a mile.
Right. And yeah, so it's very easy to log out. So you could buy internet for more than one device to be logged in at a time, or you could buy one device, and it's very easy to log somebody else out in your family, which you may or may not want to allow. So you could even say, nope, we're going to keep the password and we'll log in whoever's going to be logged in. Or it's very easy to go between devices, because even if it is one person using the internet, if they have to use 3 different devices, it's simple to log out and get into a different device.
So I don't want to end on this, but I just want to throw this out for 1 second. Christy, you sailed on the Celebrity Edge when she first sailed. So for a first sailing of that with the Wish, overall thoughts kind of between the two. I think you made a good point. We were texting about it where, the Edge was developed and built non-COVID times, and they have been struggling through COVID. And as much as things feel normal at times, on day 3 on our Magic sailing, our waiter disappeared because he had COVID, is our guess. We never saw him again, and that happened to several other people. And so I know that they've struggled with shows in the past, and who's to say why Aladdin wasn't complete? Was it a hard time getting people to do it? Did they have a COVID outbreak? Who knows? So I think in some ways we have to temper ourselves with some different expectations as far as what they've been struggling with to get this ship out. And they haven't brought a ship for 10 plus years, whereas Celebrity has. So once again, maybe a learning experience this time with Disney. I'll just give you a minute to talk about that.
Well, I think you kind of talked about it, Steve, but we have to remember when you're experiencing something new, you do have to say, well, first of all, these beginning cruises are tests for them to see if something works or not. And even on Celebrity on the Edge, if we recall, the cabin I had gotten at the beginning, had a bathroom that flooded like horribly. And then during the cruise, they've tried different methods to keep the bathrooms. Like if we put this little bar there, will that keep the bathroom from flooding? Okay, fine. We're just going to have to put up a little wall and we'll have to use that to keep the bathroom from flooding. So like you have to, they need to try stuff out and test, and everything's taking longer, right? And there are supply issues everywhere. And so some of this stuff, we just have to accept. If you're cruising a new ship, and this was discussed when the ship was actually, when we were first able to be booking it, you don't know if it's going to be 100% ready and done when you book the ship, when you go in the very beginning. So yeah, if you're cruising in July, I think you just have to have the expectation that it might not be the same as if you're cruising in October, frankly. Being honest, or even the end of August. Like by the end of August, in theory, everything should be done. And that you just said, there's something to be said though, to be on one of these inaugural sailings and to have that new ship smell when you walk in and to be one of the first to see everything. And that's what you have to look at. You have to look at it that way.
Did you even have like some glass fall in on you?
Oh, on Celebrity? But that was not. That was months later. So that was several months later. Yes, a door broke on me, and that was a day. But yeah. So
not saying that that's going to happen on the Wish. No. I'm just saying that like there's a lot of things that it takes time to work out. Yeah.
Right.
Right. Well, we're sailing on the 25th, so I'm excited to see how it grows between now and then. Just as Katie said in the chat, because the truth is, it's going to be a different ship, I think, and hopefully they'll have new experiences and different things. But I think what I hear both of you saying is, if it's super important for you to get every experience on a new ship, it might be a good idea to wait a month or 2 or 3 to book in the first season, because if Disney has shown us anything,
growing pains.
There's going to be growing pains.
Okay. And listen, here's the thing. If you're booked on a cruise in the next 2 weeks and you don't want the chance that something isn't going to be working exactly that way you wanted, or Aladdin really was your, must-see show, I want to know who that is. Please come tell me if that was your show. But if these were things that were make or break it, call Disney and have a chat with them. And this is Disney. They are still a company that wants to make people happy. And if you need to move your cruise and it's for a reason of something not potentially meeting your expectations based upon what, you've been told is going to be ready or not, have that help instead of having the concern that something isn't going to be ready.
Good point.
But she's beautiful. And if you are cruising on her, you, I think, are going to love the thought and the detail that was put into her. And when I say thought and detail, I mean thought and detail. Every little thing was so well thought out, except for the placement of the garbage can in the bathroom stateroom and the lack of tissues in both little toilets. These are both little bathrooms. These are but honestly, everything was really well thought out in terms of the decor overall around the ship, that even if you just spent all your time looking at the decor, you could have yourself a fabulous cruise.
Okay, I was going to go around, and I think you summed it up for you. Chris, I'm going to give you the last word. Sum up the Disney Wish. What are your thoughts?
Well, everyone who knows me knows that I like the new sparkly thing. So I like this. I like the new sparkly thing. I think that it is probably the best ship in the fleet. It is probably not one that we would sell on the most because of the itinerary. But they're building 2 more of these. So the Imagineers took a thing that was good, and I think that in most cases they made it better. And what more can you ask for? The thing I'm most excited about, actually, is what are they going to do to freshen up the other 4? Because after they made the Dream and the Fantasy, they reimagined the magic and added the aquadunk and redid the staterooms and all of that. So I think we're going to get some announcements on the classic ships soon because they're going to be freshening these things to try to make them line up so that the experiences feel premium across the fleet. But overall, beautiful ship. Love it.
And this ship is smooth. Like, you don't feel yourself going in and out of port. You do feel motion if you tend to feel motion eventually, but I mean, it's not even instantaneous. You don't hear yourself docking. Your entire cabin doesn't shake. It is lovely. It is a smooth, lovely experience. And Steve, check out our Instagram. And for everybody else who's not listening to this live right now, we are going to put the Instagram highlights in a highlight for our story highlights in a highlight. But we took a picture of the barge that is needed to refuel the ship. So that's a little fun moment for you, Steve.
I love the fact that the two pictures I got out of this was the stamp from Meyer Werft, commemorating the wish, and then I get the LNG barge where you guys have Cinderella.
We have our wishing wands.
And your wishing wand.
You're the boring older brother that gets to have the Meyer Werft sign.
Yeah, the geeks out about that type of stuff. Okay, you guys have done an amazing job kind of talking about your experiences and passing on a lot of different information. Thank you so much for everybody who joined us live. Thank you for your questions. If anybody has any further questions, reach out to us. I'll put this up as an episode. Please put them underneath there. We will have the snippets episode out here soon as I can get it downloaded from Chris. So we'll get that out as far as that goes. We will have some separate episodes of The Edge, I'm sure, when we sail on the 25th with Alex, as long as we all get on. And we'll be doing a snippets episode there from that sailing as well. So we'll be able to see the differences between the two. I know everybody goes to a lot of different media sites or websites. Scott Sanders has really been killing it as far as so much information, as far as like actual floor plans. And he put out a lot of information on the Edge and the Vibe with pictures. But make sure you go over and follow Amber as well on her Instagram. Do you know her Instagram, Christy? But I know that she's been putting like so many pictures every day of their sailing when they were on the Wish too. So another good follow if you're looking for pictures along the Wish from our community.
Amber likes stuff.
There we go. Yeah. I mean, like I follow her on Facebook and it's like every day I'm seeing like so many cool different pictures of the different spots and areas on the Wish that they got to experience when they were just recently on it as well. So
yeah, I think that's mostly though on Facebook.
On Facebook, okay.
Personal stuff, but she will share stuff to the DCL podcast Instagram page. So you can definitely find it there.
Okay, but definitely check out the Disney Cruise Line blog. Obviously, Scott's been having like tons of pictures on there, which is amazing. And I think with that, that'll do it. Any final thoughts, Christy or Chris?
No, I hope you guys love her. And just remember, it takes a minute to get stuff up and running. So give them a little grace. The crew are still amazing and they are excited to show people this new ship. So be excited with them about that. And oh my God, we never talked about the quick service in the back of the ship. Whatever, it doesn't matter. The pool deck food, but that pool deck food is the best. So we all
best in the fleet, easily best in the fleet.
Pizza's improved.
All new options. Yeah, they make their dough and press it there. The pizza is actually good. They have barbecue. They have Chipotle style Mexican food. They have a grill. They have all of it. It's probably like the thing I ate the most on the ship was food from the friendship fair or whatever.
Free guac.
Yeah. Yes. So that's their.
Was the barbecue legit?
Oh, yes. It was good. It was good.
Like straight up brisket and good barbecue sauce that's like house made.
I really enjoyed the ribs. I ate those a couple of times.
I can't wait to try that.
Okay, so I know we've tried to end this 85 times. You better just hit end because we won't ever stop talking. Everybody, wave your wishing wands around. I hope that you all have a great cruise when you cruise her finally, and we will talk soon, and we will talk again about this after our group cruise.
And we'll leave it at that. Goodbye, everybody, and we'll see you next time on the DCL we'll see you next time on the DCL podcast. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
The DCL podcast is not affiliated with the Disney Cruise Line, Walt Disney Company, Adventures by Disney, or Run Disney. All of the opinions expressed on our shows are those of the hosts and the guests who appear on the show. If you have any questions about any of these products, please contact the Walt Disney Company.